Take It Slow Homestead. I'm Carol, and today I'm going to do a little variation on what we did in the last video. It was the one before the last video. I froze some broccoli at that time, and this time I'm going to do something a little different and combine two vegetables. It's not like an eye-opening discovery, but I have not done this before, so maybe you haven't either. Today I'm going to freeze a mixture of cauliflower and carrots. Now, there's a popular mix of vegetables that contains cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. So since I already froze the broccoli the other day, I can just grab one of those bags of broccoli out of my freezer, and soon I'll be able to grab a bag of cauliflower and carrots out of my freezer, and I can mix the three of them together and then have that delicious blend of vegetables. If you are smarter and you think ahead a little bit farther, you can actually freeze all three of these, of course, at the same time and put them in your bags, and then you've already got the whole mixture together. Or you can mix together any other of your favorite vegetables that you like mixed together, and check your freezing and canning cookbook. See if their blanching times are the same or if they're different, and then you can adjust for those blanching times. Now, today I'm doing cauliflower and carrots. The cauliflower in my altitude is to be blanched at 5 minutes, just like the broccoli. The carrots, however, if you remember from before, in my altitude are 4.5 minutes. And all I'm going to do is just, when I cut up the carrots, I will make them just a tiny bit bigger chunks. Not really that much. I don't think it really matters if I do that or not, but to be exact, I could do that. And then just blanch them together at the 5 minutes. So, stick with me and we'll go through this process and see what we come up with. Here's a great big head of cauliflower. And I'm just going to peel off these outside leaves, what's left of the outside leaves. I already did a batch of this same mixture just a little while ago, and I took these scraps out to my chickens and they started pecking at the leaves right away, so they like them. These are pretty thick stems on these leaves. I don't know if they're edible. They probably are. The leaves off of broccoli are edible. I haven't tried them yet, like I said before, but I'm going to. I'm assuming that the leaves off this cauliflower are edible too, but I don't know for sure. If you do, you can leave a comment and let me know. Now I have a big old knife here. Well, not too big, but bigger than my favorite one, because it needs it to get this really fat stem off. And then I'm just going to go around carefully, a little bit at a time, not pushing too hard, because if you push really hard and you accidentally slip, you might end up with an injury. So a little bit at a time. Okay. So I just sort of dug out the middle of that cauliflower head, and I got most of the stem out. Now sometimes if you've kept your cauliflower in the fridge a little too long, you might end up with a few darkened areas on the top. I don't have hardly anything wrong with this one. There's just a tiny bit right there, maybe there. All you have to do is cut those off. Okay, now I'm going to switch to my favorite knife. And you can cut off some of these little tree-shaped pieces by themselves, but you know, those are too big to go in my mouth. So I'm going to cut it in half, cut it in half again. It still leaves pretty large chunks, but I think that's okay. I think I'm gonna leave them about like that, or maybe just a little bit smaller. And also, when I'm taking the little trees off of the main part of the cauliflower, I've been cutting off this part of the stem for two reasons. It's just kind of straggly looking, and it's a little bit tougher than the part that's closer to the flower, I guess you could call it. Now these right here are probably a little bit better bite-sized pieces, a little bit smaller. You just have to decide for yourselves. I'm sure there are some of us who just like to put the whole big piece in their mouth at once and enjoy it that way, but be careful, don't choke. So I'm just going to continue cutting up this head right here. When I have this cut up into pieces, then we will come back. Okay, have those all cut up, and I'll just place them in my colander. The next step is going to be preparing the carrots. And of course, you've watched me peel toward myself before. So, in case you missed that video, I will show you how I do this. Pretty simple. And then I cut off the stem end until I can't see any more little green spot. And then this is how I'm going to cut them. First I'm going to drain some of the water off of that cutting board. I'm doing them approximately 1/4 of an inch, and if any of them are a little bigger, then that's okay too. Because I am going to blanch them for 5 minutes. So I just have 6 more carrots, and I will get those peeled and cut and ready to go. Okay, the carrots are all cut up. Everything is in the colander, ready to put in the boiling water to be blanched for 5 minutes. Now this pot of water is what I used just a little while ago to blanch my first batch. So it may look a little cloudy. It's because it was used to blanch the first batch already. Stir them around a little bit and wait until they start to boil again. And while they're doing that, these are the scraps that I got from taking care of the cauliflower and peeling the carrots and chopping everything up. So that's going to go to my other flock of chickens. I have some younger ones and some older ones. I already fed the younger ones the first scraps. Now I'm going to, in a little while, take these out to the older flock and see if they like them as much as the younger ones like them. And they will turn these into eggs for me. They will also turn these scraps into poop which I will mix in my compost pile, and then later I will put on my garden, and then I will get more food from that enriched soil. Now the carrots that I'm working with today are from my garden last summer, but the cauliflower, alas, I bought at the store because I didn't get any cauliflower last year, or broccoli, as I mentioned before. But this year I'm going to do what I need to do to organically drive away the bugs that took over my brassicas. I did get some kale and I did get some kohlrabi, and I think that is because I planted them early enough where the cauliflower and the broccoli, I don't think I planted them early enough. So as it got warmer and those bugs hatched out, then yeah, they got ahead of me. And they got to have all the goodies, and I didn't get anything, hardly anything of those broccolis and cauliflowers. I didn't get any cauliflower, tiny bit of broccoli. The vegetables have returned to the boil, so it's time to set the timer for 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes are up. Now we're going to take these over to the sink and drain them in the colander. Since this is my last batch for today, then I just go ahead and drain it in the colander, dump all the water, everything in it. I don't save it for any other batches. Now in this sink over here I have water. Some of you may wonder why I don't put ice in a large bowl, a large clean bowl. And it's because I clean my sink really well before I use it like this. So I'm not worried at all about my sink being dirty, because it's not. It's very clean. I know some people use a large bowl, put ice water in it, and that's the way they cool down their vegetables, which is perfectly fine. But I like to do it in the sink. I've always done it this way. Just clean and sterilize your sink beforehand really well. Okay, while they're cooling off, I'm going to do a couple of things. Refill the ice cube tray so it's all ready to go for the next time. Something I've been trying to do a lot lately, I learned from David the Good's channel, and I've shared it with you before. He had a guest on there, and his guest had different rules and things that he liked to live by. And the first one was do things on time. And that's been on my mind a lot lately. I'm trying to be better at doing things on time, like not letting the dishes sit in the sink all day, like not letting the ice cube tray stay empty all day. Just take care of it now. So now what I'm going to do is get my shoes on. Actually, I'm just going to wear my same shoes. I need to go outside later, not too much later, and do my chores. But for right now, I'm just going to take these scraps out to those older hens. See how they like them. So here's the scraps. Let's go. It's a brisk 37 degrees out here today. Sky's perfectly clear. No rain, no snow in the forecast for several days, so That's kind of sad. We like rain, we like snow, we need it. We live in a desert. Hey ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? How's it going? See how you like these things. There's a few. There's a few more. Alright. Oh, carrot, yeah. That was good. What about the cauliflower leaves? Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, you like them. Alright. Well, you are going to be so happy that I'm going to plant some more of this stuff in the spring. Sorry, Henny's over here. Whoa, the wind is blowing. We have wind, but we do not have a storm. So, it's not good. Alright, some of you guys really like that. Let's go back in. I've had enough. Okay, up the path. One thing about winter is, one good thing, I don't have a lot of growing weeds in my path. And hopefully that's another thing I can do better at this year, this coming year, is to keep the weeds away from my path. There they are, nice and cool. Nice and cooled off. Now we just put these back in the colander and get them nice and drained off. I'm excited about this combination of vegetables that I'm going to freeze together. I've never done this before with vegetables. And I'm looking forward to mixing them with the broccoli. This also gets me excited to be more wise and more diligent with my broccoli and cauliflower plants this coming season. I hope I have a harvest. And now, put them on a cookie sheet. And if you didn't see the last video on broccoli, then I will tell you that I do this so that when I vacuum seal these vegetables, they are most of the way frozen already, and none of the juices from the vegetables will be sucked up into the bags. With the broccoli video, I had a problem getting my vacuum sealer to seal. I realized what the problem was, and I put it in the description, but if you didn't get a chance to read the description, I will tell you that because I had taken the plastic bag material off of a roll of Food Saver bags, well, Food Saver roll, it was near the end of that roll. Well, it was at the very end. I got 3 bags. I made 3 bags. And so they were kind of curly because of being on the roll. And what I finally realized I was doing was that I had that curly part coming up when it was in my Food Saver. It was coming up like this, and the Food Saver was not able to properly and completely suck the air out of the bag. And so I decided to try turning it so that the curly side was down like this into the channel of the food saver. And so it was just right in there. And lo and behold, they sealed just fine. So I learned something new. When you get to the end of the roll of your food saver bags that you're making from the roll, and if your plastic bags that you've just made are curled on one end, just poke it down in the channel of your food saver or what other machine you have. I know there's newer ones and they may have a different design, but that's what I needed to do, and that's what I finally figured out, and they work just fine. Now for these broccoli and carrots, I'm going to try using some of my food saver bags that I've used before, that I have cleaned and washed and dried and stored, because several times when I reuse those, they turn out just fine. Other times, for some reason or another, they won't seal very well. So I'm going to try and use some of those. I have a big container of them right there. See how well I can point at things now. You would have to watch some earlier videos to get that joke. I have these that I have pulled out of my container that seem like they're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to use these first and see if I can seal these, this mixture of cauliflower and carrots. If I have a problem, I bought these, I have 2 boxes of new bags, which I'm sure will work perfectly. So after I do a little bit of that later on today, after my vegetables are mostly all the way frozen, then I will let you know if I have success using my old bags or if I just had to go straight to the new bags. I think it's a crying shame if the old bags can't be reused, because these are not cheap items to buy. But in the long run, it's worth it to keep your vegetables frozen, and other things too, like meats and chocolate chips, of course. To keep them frozen in an airless environment, they will last a lot longer in your freezer. So check back with you in a while. Here's my first batch of cauliflower and carrots, and I did have some bags that were used, clean, used bags, food saver bags from before that I had stored, and these all sealed very nicely and did a good job. So there's that first batch. Now we'll see how we do on the second batch. Okay, here we are on the last and second tray of cauliflower and carrots, and we are going to hopefully find some great bags that won't have any problem with the vacuum sealer, and we'll get this project taken care of. So the last thing to do, of course, is put the date on your packages and then stick them in the freezer. So that's what we're doing right now. Today is 1/27/22. Now I did have to try several of my used bags, and this one sealed perfectly. First one, well, either first or second one I tried. And then I tried several that just would not seal. So they're in the garbage. And so I opened up one of my new boxes of quart-sized bags, so they hold more. So there's this quart bag and this quart bag, and they're all done. So finally got that project done. I hope that if you have some vegetables that you need to take care of, that you can remember that you can just freeze them, get them in your freezer, use them later. You might have stuff in your fridge that you think is going to go bad and you need to take care of it, but or you need to eat it right away. Sometimes you don't need to eat it right away. If you have a freezer, you can just freeze it and put it in your freezer for later. And if they're raw vegetables, then remember to blanch them first. Thank you for hanging out with me today while I did this project. It was a good one, and I'm excited about doing more vegetable blends when I freeze my vegetables. I'll have to decide what combinations I like the best. Like and subscribe and share with your friends and make a comment. I'm always open for new comments and new ideas, things that I can improve on. I hope you learned something new today or been reminded of something that you already knew. And remember that even when you take it slow, you can accomplish a lot. Thanks for watching.